A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend, Constitutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Leonard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and an occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Politics Podcast. Joining me today is Tong Ge. It looks like GE, like General Electric, but pronounced Ge. But we were just discussing in the green room, so let her educate you like she had to educate me on the name. It's actually backwards, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and explain that.
Oh, the Chinese way, we put first name last and last name first. So Tong is the last name and Ge is the first name.
All right.
In Chinese, it means child's son. So S-O-N-G, like if you want to know the meaning of it. Yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. But yeah, it's spelled T-O-N-G space G-E like General Electric initials.
You don't call me General Electric. It's easier to remember.
Hey, we got to keep a sense of humor, right? Or we go crazy. So
that's right. Yeah.
The obvious first thing is clearly you were born in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
For those, if people didn't get it by the name, if you're looking at behind the scenes video, you could kind of tell she doesn't look like a traditional Brooklyn girl.
Nope.
So let's do that proverbial usual first thing. Where were you born and raised, and where all have you been? Where are you now kind of thing?
I was born and raised in China, and I came to Canada in the late 80s as an international student. So I went to graduate school in University of Saskatchewan, like in Saskatoon, Canada. And after I got my master's degree with a major of agriculture economics, I moved to Calgary, Canada in 1993. So I have been here since. So now I'm in Calgary, Canada.
Where the Stampeders play.
Exactly. Wow, you know about Stampede.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Detroit. I used to vacation in Canada all the time. So
I see. Okay.
Unlike most Americans, I actually kind of understand Canada.
That's right.
Been over there all the time. And yeah, I watch CFL games all the time. So I like to joke the Winnipeg Blue Bombers owe me some money because I lost since they didn't win the Grey Cup.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a whole other story. You're here to talk books, not sports.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Although, I want to get into China in general before we get to the book, but I never script shows. I do have notes and whatnot, but that kind of raises an odd question for me. Like what kind of sports do they have in China that we don't have here? Are there any?
Table tennis is very popular in China. It's not a big thing here, but it's very popular in China.
Right. That's like soccer or football is far more a European thing, although it's here. So, in today's modern society with the aircraft and now the internet, everything is a click away. Everything is commingled. So it's not like it was way back when, but ping pong originated there?
I believe so. I didn't get into research on that. Yeah.
Putting you on the spot. It doesn't say you're a Chinese historian.
No, but
So
you
I
know
kind
why?
of put you on the spot with that one.
Yeah, you know why ping pong has been really popular? Because it takes less space. Like in China, way back when we still don't have much space, right? Because of the huge population. So table tennis doesn't require a big field like a soccer or
Right.
hockey or football. So that's pretty much everybody can do it. It's really cheap. Like when I was growing up, in school we have ping pong tables, outdoor ping pong tables, and we can just practice after, like, during the recess. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I mean, China's a big place. There's a whole lot of space, but in the urban centers, it's like Tokyo also. I mean, just
Yeah,
whole bunches of people packed in there.
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
So what you're saying space-wise in the urban centers, that makes sense.
yeah.
A lot of high-rises without a whole lot of room
Yeah,
to build like a hockey rink like you were suggesting.
yeah. Like people live in like a matchbox, right? Like it's a high rise is like a matchbox. You each one have a little box.
All right. And before we get too much further, we'll go into the book, which will kind of cover this a little, hint at it. But I want to make sure up front here, an understanding that the Chinese people are not my enemy, but the Chinese government is, right? It's like the Iranian people, too.
Yeah.
I have no qualms whatsoever with the Iranian people. It's the nutcases in charge of that country currently that are the problem. And unfortunately, the book of Revelation seems pretty obvious we're headed there in a handbasket, because there's just some people that hell bent on not willing to get along with others.
Yeah. I think because China has like thousands of years of imperial system, so the emperor is like it's a totalitarian. How do you say that?
Totalitarian, yes. I know what you meant. Right. Now now I can't say it either.
For a long time. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. And your book kind of hints at all that and covers all that, because it talks about the communists in power in 1949. So that's a perfect segue. Let's first, since I haven't given the name of the book, let's have you give the name of the book and tell us about it.
Yeah, the title of the book is called The House Failure. Yeah, the reason it is called The House Failure because in Chinese culture, a woman who marries a widower is called a house failure. At least traditionally, like before, right? Before women's rights came along. So Golden Phoenix is a protagonist of the book. The book is based on my grandmother's story. So when she was growing up, that is, the time span of this story covers from 1920 to 1966. So when she was a child, or before that, like for thousands of years, Chinese women's beauty was measured by the size of their feet, not by their looks, because the smaller the feet, they're more desirable. That's because in Song Dynasty, there was an emperor who liked the tiny feet women. So that's how the tradition started. And so Chinese parents would band their children's feet at age 4 or 5.
It's like in Egypt, they would bind the head to elongate the skull. In China, because of this, I dare say, foot fetish.
Yeah, it is.
They bound the feet.
It was foot fetish for lots of men, right? So, but the Golden Phoenix, being a motherless child, her father missed her ideal foot bonding age at 4 or 5. So she didn't get her feet bound until she was 6. Therefore, the size of her feet didn't achieve the ideal size, which is called the golden water lily size. Its 3 Chinese twin is about 4 inches long, but her feet was 1 inch too long. So that made her, it's hard for her to marry. And the second reason was that because she was trained as the seamstress and later became the breadwinner of the family. So her father kept her at home for too long until she was 26. By then, all the young men were married, right? Because way back then, people marry at 18, 20. So she had no choice but to marry a widower who was 20 years older than her. That's why she was called a house filler.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And that plays out all through. I'm not going to read the whole description but I do see mention of the Red Army and during the upheaval of the Japanese invasion of her hometown and all that. So, yeah. I mean, we're talking a lot of turmoil and struggle.
Yeah. So she went through after her husband passed away. She was in poverty with 5 children. And she didn't, like way back when women don't work, right? She couldn't feed them. And then she had to send her twins to the Red Army. And then Japanese came. Then they have to escape as refugees. And in the meantime, her 2 daughters were missing. And eventually all 3 of her sons joined the armies, become soldiers. But her eldest son joined the Nationalist Army, and her twins joined the Communist Army. So they have been enemies. Even during the time
it was a civil war, more or less.
Yeah, after Japanese surrendered, right. The civil war started. I mean, during the Japanese invasion, the 2 parties briefly joined force, but
they tolerated one another, the common enemy.
But they were not really, they were not unified. They have different ideology, different. So the difference was too big. It cannot be consolidated, cannot be resolved. So moment after the Japanese surrendered, the Civil War started. Yeah, so it's a story of survival, of betrayal, love and betrayal, of resilience, of suffering, of all that. And
I hadn't really. This is obviously in English for English audiences. Yes.
Yeah.
It might seem like a dumb question, but to make sure everybody knows, because I want to set up is it available in Mandarin?
No, not yet. I'm translating it right now.
Okay, so you are going to try to get copies into China?
That probably would be hard. I wish I can publish in Taiwan. And
yeah, right. And then some of them would get smuggled in, right?
Yeah.
So do you still have family back in China?
Not immediate families. I have sister, cousins, and nephews and niece, but we're not actually. Some of them, they stopped communicating with me, because of something I said in the WeChat group. They got scared, so they cut me off, they shadow banned me. So
right, kind of for their own protection, no doubt. I was exactly going to go there next. Indeed, that's why I asked if you had family back there still. No doubt. Because they constantly monitor communications there, and they might be concerned that you might westernize them too much.
Yeah. Or, I've been shadow banned. Let's say if the WeChat group have both overseas Chinese and Chinese, Chinese living in China. Anything I post, Chinese living in China cannot see it. Only overseas Chinese can see it. So to them, I'm like a ghost. I can see what they put in the group. They couldn't see me. So I have no influence whatsoever, right?
Interesting. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like just all one-way communication. It's
Yeah, I
like
can say, yeah,
it's like going into an art museum, right? You could see what was put up. There's no interacting with the people who put that together.
that's
That's
right.
very interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Uh, Indeed, that's such an interesting situation. I'm trying to formulate where I want to go next or my next question. Oh, I remember I had thought of something. I didn't make a note though. Completely different direction. So let's forget all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, How many languages do you speak?
Oh, just the Mandarin and the English.
Oh, okay. I figured it had to at least be the two. I
Yeah,
didn't know if it was more than that because coming from there and then also spending uh, the time here and
yeah,
knowing English, I didn't want to assume, but I know people that come from other places more recently have a better appreciation and understanding of the need to speak multiple languages is what I guess I was going to get at.
yeah, yeah. Chinese is my mother tongue and English is my second language. So bless you, that's okay. It's still easier for me to write in Chinese than in English.
Yeah, thank you. I have a bad cold, so I had to mute my mic
Okay.
because I was coughing up a storm. So I was
Okay.
hoping you'd just keep talking while I was
Sorry,
trying
now
to
I know. I'll just
while
keep
I
talking.
while I was hacking up a lung in the background.
Okay.
They'll see it on the behind the scenes video. They won't have heard it in the audio, at least,
I
thank goodness.
see. I
I
see.
was able to hit my mute button in time.
Okay, I thought you successfully suffocating yourself.
Oh, goodness gracious. But
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't want to cancel on you or anything like that.
Okay.
I've
Yeah.
got a bad cold right now, but I
Okay.
seem to be stable enough that the coughing fits are far enough apart that I thought we'd be able to get this in okay. And another thing, a random segue. You're part of Mickey Mickelson's, what would you call him? Your publicist?
My publicist. Yeah.
Yes, right. I met Mickey through Miss Liz Tea Time the
Oh,
other
yeah.
day.
That's
So,
right.
and
Yeah.
Mickey reached out. I said, "Hey, I've got a show. If you want to introduce me to some of your authors, I'll be happy to take a look and see who all's a fit." And as best as I could tell, there's nobody I want to ignore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because I've got a relationship also with Michael Stover, who's a musical artist representative.
Oh,
And
I see. Okay.
so I've got a whole big parade of different musicians on, and now I'm going to have a whole big parade of authors
That's a good
on.
thing.
So
Yeah.
you never know,
You never know. Yeah.
right? Networking. You never know who you're going to know who knows somebody who can help, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So I'm I would have certainly never run into you otherwise. So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
and vice versa. But
Yeah.
I was starting to hold up this from Mickey Mickelson
Yeah.
behind the scenes. They could see it. There's
Yeah.
an award there. Go ahead and tell us about the award.
It is this book is a winner of 2024 Independent Press Award for new fiction. And it is also a finalist for 2023 Islands. It's called EYELANDS Islands Book Award. That award is in Greece, believe it or not, but it's worldwide. Yeah, and then now it is a finalist for 2024 Canadian Book Club Awards for fiction. So the winners of the Book Club Awards will be announced this month on the 22nd. So I'm crossing my finger for that.
Okay, we've got to make an explanation now because this will be airing sometime later in the year. We're recording on January the 8th. So we're talking January of 2025 now. January will be a few months past by the time this actually airs.
Oh, I
So
see.
just to give people a reference of what are they talking about? That couple months later, you'll be hearing this. We're recording on January 8th.
I see. Okay.
Just so we don't completely lose the audience, although I probably confused them already.
Yeah,
I tend to do that. It's kind of like unintentional, not try to trick the audience, but give them puzzles or something. Yes, like
yeah.
how can I confuse them this time?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I see. Yeah.
Yeah, all in good fun. We've
Of course.
got to keep a sense of humor, or we will go crazy.
Of
So
course.
now, is this your first international book?
This is my first, my first
Okay.
novel. Yeah.
Okay. I take it, though, you've been probably writing for a long time. This is just the first international. It's like me. I've been writing ever since I was young. My first international book wasn't published to 2022. So you've been writing, right? This is just the
I've
first
been writing for a very long time. I wrote a lot of poems in Chinese when I was in college. But for this, actually, I wrote a trilogy. So this is the first book of China China Trilogy.
There we go.
And I started the process in 2004. We're talking about 20 years ago. And because English is my second language and I don't have a background of creative writing. So it took me a long, long, long time to get here. Yeah.
Well, I'm interested, and I kind of chuckled at that by you saying that because my Terror Strikes book, I actually started in 2006.
Oh.
And I had a beginning, a middle, and an end, but there was just something missing. So I put it aside. And 15 years later, I picked it back up and finished it. So I understand sometimes the time, just the timing isn't right until the timing is right.
Yeah.
Kind of like a hand of fate involved in it.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, I made myself a note here because you mentioned fiction. Well, you also mentioned, though, it's about family. So, but you wrote it as fiction, although there's a lot of true story in it.
Yeah, I think 90% of this book is based on true stories. Only 10% is fictionalized. More like for the details, right? That part, I mean, I don't know how do you write it as a nonfiction. So details, and also I have done some characters consolidation just to make the story flows better. But largely it's based on real life stories and events.
Yeah. Oh, I forget who it was that I spoke with just a few weeks ago, indeed, about that composite characters, like the movie Patriot Day about the Boston Marathon bombing. The Mark Wahlberg character in that movie is really a composite conglomerate character representing 3 or 4 different people so that it can flow. Otherwise, there's too many chefs in the soup, so to speak, right?
Too many characters, you can confuse people. Yeah.
Right. It's like, what? Who's this guy now? I thought we were dealing with X and now we got Y. And who the heck's this Z person? No pun intended by Z there.
And imagine with all the Chinese names, it will be even more confusing. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Oh, oh boy. Well, like I said, I have a cold, so I'm just like, my brain's a little foggy right now.
Okay.
You said it's going to be, did you say 2 or 3 or how many books in the series?
3 books. It's in a trilogy, yes.
It'll be a trilogy when it's done. You've got the second one in process now?
Oh, they're all done. They're all finished.
Oh, they're all done. Okay. I thought it was just the one. Are they all released or it's just the one released?
No, just this one is released. The other 2 has not. Like I have, I'm still looking for a publisher for my second book. Yeah, the reason all 3 books are finished at the same time is because I started with a really, really long novel, just one book, covering 3 generations.
War and Peace.
Yeah.
Way too big, right? Way too big.
When I finished that, like the word count was 240,000 words.
Oh, yeah, way too big.
I couldn't find the publisher, and I didn't know why until later I learned that for literary fiction or historical fiction, they don't publish a book that big. So I was advised to divide into 2 or 3 books. So I decided to divide into 3 books. Each book focused on one generation. So the first book is about my grandmother's generation. Second book is about my parents' generation. Third book is my own story before I came to Canada. So that's why it's called the China China Trilogy. And yeah. And my next trilogy will be titled Oh Canada. That'll be my next trilogy, yeah.
Well, by the time you do that, the national anthem over there will change 10 more times.
Maybe we'll change it to American anthem.
Yeah, I joke. I love my Canadian friends over there, but yeah, I mean, how many times have you guys tweaked the national anthem over there? It's like, can you please leave it alone? I can't relearn a new set of lines.
Yeah.
Oh, so how many years have you been in Canada then?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.
I came here in 1988. So
88.
Yeah, it's over 30 years. It's like yeah.
So you came at the end of Reagan's first term then?
Yeah. But when we first came, we were as a either international students or new immigrants, we were pretty fog about politics. Like we didn't even know which party means what. We had no idea until like gradually we learned. Right now, like lots of Chinese immigrants, we know what is conservative, what is labor. Like we know the differences. Like way back when, I didn't even know the difference. And I remember, in Canada, that was Mulroney, who was the prime minister when I first came here.
I remember him.
Yeah. So when I remember one morning when I opened my door, when I was a student, there's a flyer underneath the door, and I picked up. It says, "Let's change the government." I was looking around, I'm thinking, holy, these people, they'll be arrested. Who did this? This is like I was so scared. I have to hide the
Yeah. Yeah, we're laughing, but it's not funny.
Oh, no.
Because yeah, exactly. Back home, they'd be stringing somebody up for that.
You don't try to change the government. That's like a major felony. You will be arrested 100% if you try to change the government. Even peacefully, you cannot. If you try to distribute any flyers or try to influence any people, give a speech or have association, like in China now, they are not allowed any association, even if it's just for a cycling club. It's not allowed to exist. They do not allow you to exist, even a cycling club, like any kind of club association, because they're afraid that people get together, right? So.
Yeah, anywhere someone could gather for one purpose,
yeah,
it can morph into another purpose,
or
right?
it could be something in disguise, right? That's what.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. And as the old adage goes, divide and conquer, right? If they
Even though,
never keep you divided, yep.
exactly. Even though the Constitution, Chinese Constitution allows it. I mean, the Constitution is beautiful, right? Free press, free speech, and free association, free demonstration, free this, free that.
It ain't worth the paper it's printed on, though.
No, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, hey, with Justin Trudeau finally resigning,
We're
I mean,
celebrating. We're celebrating.
yeah, exactly. Now, again, we're recording in January. He just resigned a few days ago. This will be a few months afterwards. Who knows what will happen between now and then? But I mean, the Canadian Constitution and even here in the U.S., the erosion of the constitutional rights are just enormous, and we need a restoration here in the United States, just like Canada does, and the United Kingdom does, and France, and Germany, and everywhere. We need a return to constitutional governance again that we've all long lost. We've not gone completely down the road of communist China, but there are a whole lot of people in the U.S. and the Trudeaus of the world in Canada who want one-party rule in your nation also.
Yeah. So, like, Trudeau, what he did to the demonstrators, the truck drivers a few years ago, that was horrible. That was, like, brutal. Like, those people, I don't know if you saw the video clip. Those people demonstrated, some of them be tramped by the horses. Have you seen that?
Yes.
It was horrible. Like, he abused the power and turned his guns to the people. That's, he's long overdue. He's long overdue.
Yeah. I mean, his dad was bad enough.
Oh,
he's 1,000 times worse.
He's worse.
Yeah, because I'm old enough to remember Daddy Trudeau.
Yeah. And I know, like, Daddy Trudeau brought Canada into, like, a big debt, right? After his term. And his son succeeded that. I don't know why Canadians elected them. Like, especially for some. I mean, sometimes, democracy is a great system, but not necessarily the majority is always right. That's a problem.
Correct. And that's why we're not none of us are true democracies. Because of that, we're not supposed to be a mob rule. And that's part of the problem. Too few people pay any attention to what's going on, but yet they'll show up on election day. Oh, look, I know that name. Let me vote for that name.
And some, like, I heard some women, like, lots of women voted for Trudeau because he's handsome. Like, they voted on. I mean, come on, you're not voting for a movie star. Like, what do you think, right? But, like, now when most of Canadians realize he's a bad prime minister, but it's like we already paid the price. We already paid the heavy price.
Right.
The inflation goes, like, skyrocket, and mortgage rate and everything. It's just horrible. Like, our, like, standards of living actually has gone down in the last few years, then gone up. It has gone down. Like, even with the massive, social, welfare. I never got it. I never got a penny. Even though my business has been affected by the COVID, but because I'm, like, a business for self, I didn't get any those assistance, like, money.
Right. No, that's how leftist government works. They want to pick and choose their friends, their family members, their donors to give special favors to special people who then return it, pick back some of that money to help keep them in power.
One thing is really interesting. If you give money to one person or a very small group of people for buying the vote, right? You commit a crime. It's
you as an individual.
It's illegal.
Yes.
It's called bribery. But if you give the money to a large group, if the group is large enough, that's called welfare, right?
Yeah.
So they do this because they want to have more votes, right? So anyway, I'm glad that he's resigning, but let's see what's going to happen next. I hope.
Yeah. We'll have people finally awakened from their slumber, right? Yeah, exactly. Too many people have only consumed by you heard the term bread and circus?
No, I've not.
No, oh yeah, out of the Greek and Roman days, the emperors would keep the people pacified with just enough bread for their bellies, so they wouldn't revolt out of hunger. And the circus, the big circus forums and the gladiators and that to keep them distracted. Look at that. Look at that. Don't look at what we're doing.
Yeah. It's
so
like
it's bread and circus distraction.
I see. Yeah. So it's kind of,
And far too many people today are indeed consumed by bread and circus, coasting through life like have you heard the boiling frog analogy, right? You put a frog into cold water, bring it to a slow boil.
Slowly,
too late, it recognizes it's boiling to death.
It's too late,
right? But you try to put it in hot water. Whoa, wait a minute, that's a shock to the. And too many people are indeed that slow rising temperature frog, not paying attention till it's going to be too late.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, at any rate, thank you for joining me, Tong Ge, even though it's GE, TONG space GE, and your book is The House Filler, as well as the other ones will be out pretty soon. So I hope people will watch for that. Have you? Do you have a website, an author site, or?
Yeah, it's my pen name, tong-ge.com. So PONG-GE.com.
Okay, it's not a dash, not an underscore, a dash.
Yeah, I also want to say something. Just one more thing. When people go to Amazon to look for my book, you also need to put Tong Ge as the author's name. Otherwise, you find a whole bunch of household items.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you put in Tong, you'll get a bunch of kitchen utensils, right?
Yeah. So just the house filler hyphen Tong Ge, you'll find my book.
All right. Thank you for stopping by today. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Joseph. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM is your conservative flamethrower. Weekdays, Steve Gruber starts things off at 6 a.m. Gruber gives his perspective on the issues of the day. At 9 a.m., Glenn Beck blazes the airwaves with his nationally syndicated program. From noon to 3, it's Dennis Prager. At 3 o'clock, it's Wham's own Theron X. On the Edge, Theron tells it exactly as he sees it. At 6, it's The Dana Show, your conservative alternative. At 8, don't miss Joe Pags. Weekends are filled with conservative talk as well. Fingers Malloy, Thomas LeDuc, The Abolitionists Roundtable, A Moment of Clarity with Pastor Rick, Your American Heritage with Ed Bondarenka, Dave Janda's Operation Freedom, and Dick Kupke's Trigger Talk. You can even get links to Wham podcasts from Dave, Dick, and of course Theron, all from their pages on our website, whamradio.com. Keep it locked on Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM in southeastern Michigan, and whamradio.com anywhere in the world.